The spitball has been cussed and discussed by baseball people over the years. The leading proponent of the illegal pitch is Gaylord Perry, but the man who taught it to him is Bob Shaw.
Baseball has changed its rules twice, both times because of one man. Gaylord Perry grew up in poverty, built everything from scratch, and lost it all when the cheers faded. He forced the sport to rewrite what was allowed and still went on to win. What he demonstrated on the baseball pitch, no one could prove. And the moment the world thought they understood him, he smiled and walked away. Gaylord Jackson Perry was born on the 15th of September, 1938, in Williamston, North Carolina. At Williamston High School, Perry excelled in every sport. He was selected All-State in football. In basketball, he averaged nearly 30 points and 20 rebounds per game, leading his team to 94 wins and 8 losses across 4 seasons. He turned down dozens of college scholarship offers. As a pitcher, he won 33 of 38 decisions. In 1958, with professional baseball scouts watching, he struck out 17 consecutive batters. Scout Tom Sheehan of the San Francisco Giants had seen enough. The signing bonus was $60,000. Perry took half and handed it to his father. For the first time in their lives, the Perry family owed nothing to anyone. He had not thrown a single pitch in professional baseball, and already his arm had done something no harvest ever could. The San Francisco Giants were not waiting for Gaylord Perry. They had Juan Marichal. They had a rotation full of arms. Perry arrived in 1962 as the 10th man on a 10-man staff. His first season ERA was 5.23. He was sent down to Tacoma. He came back up. He struggled again. He went back down again. Late in the 1962 season, Perry was called into a playoff tiebreaker against the Los Angeles Dodgers, deciding who went to the World Series. The score was 7-7, 2 runners on base, nobody out. His manager, Alvin Dark, gave him one instruction. Perry defied it. Wills scored 2 batters later. Dark was furious. Perry was not even eligible to pitch in the World Series that followed. He watched from the bench. He used his playoff check as a down payment on a farm back home, the only kind of future he could picture if baseball did not work out. But 1964 changed everything. A new teammate arrived. Bob Shaw was known for one particular skill that had nothing to do with conventional pitching. Quietly, in the bullpen and in practice, he passed that skill to Perry. On the 31st of May, 1964, Perry entered a game against the New York Mets in the 13th inning of a doubleheader that had already lasted over 6 hours. The score was 6-6. He threw 10 shutout innings. He won. For the first time, Alvin Dark trusted him completely. Perry had found his weapon, and he would spend the next 20 years making sure nobody could take it away. In the spring of 1966, Gaylord Perry arrived at training camp 3 weeks early. Nobody asked him to. No coach required it. He simply showed up, ran until he sweated, and threw until his arm ached. Something had changed in him. A man who once struggled to hold a roster spot had decided he was done living with uncertainty. By August of that year, he was 20 wins and 2 losses. The baseball world noticed, and with the attention came the accusations. Milwaukee manager Bobby Bragan complained first in July of 1966. Henry Aaron, one of the greatest hitters who ever lived, backed him up. They said Perry was putting something on the baseball, something wet, something illegal, something that made the ball move in ways no pitch should naturally move. Perry said nothing. He smiled. But 1967 told the real story of what Perry was worth. That season, he went 15 wins and 17 losses. On the surface, it looked like a step backward. Look closer. His ERA was 2.61, among the best in the league. He threw 293 innings, completed 18 starts, and struck out 230 batters. His teammate Mike McCormick pitched fewer innings, carried a higher ERA, and finished 22 wins and 10 losses. McCormick won the Cy Young Award. Perry finished with a losing record because his team could not score behind him. He lost 5 times that season by a score of 2-1. The rules changed in 1967. Pitchers were no longer allowed to bring their hand to their mouth while on the mound. The intent was clear: stop Perry. So Perry spent the entire offseason practicing in front of a mirror. He found new places to store what he needed, new gestures to disguise what he was doing. He touched his cap, his belt, his glove, the back of his neck, the bill of his hat. every single pitch. Whether he intended to throw anything unusual or not, that was the genius of it. The ritual itself became the weapon. Umpires were ordered to search him. One pulled the cap off his head without warning, which was particularly amusing because Perry had been going bald since his 20s. Another wiped his face and neck with a towel on the mound. Another demanded he roll his trouser legs above the knee. Perry allowed all of it, stood there calmly while men searched him like a suspect, then went back to the rubber and kept winning. On the 17th of September, 1968, Perry stepped out to face the reigning World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals and threw the only no-hitter of his career. He struck out 9 batters. He allowed no runs. He defeated Bob Gibson and won 1-0. The game lasted 1 hour and 40 minutes. The very next evening, Cardinals pitcher Ray Washburn answered with a no-hitter of his own against the Giants. It was the first time in Major League Baseball history that consecutive no-hitters had been thrown in the same series. Through it all, Perry kept competing game after game. He later admitted he rarely threw anything unusual at all. Billy Martin brought a bloodhound to the stadium to sniff the baseballs. Perry won the game anyway. Then there was the afternoon. Yankees manager Ralph Houck walked all the way to the mound, pulled the cap off Perry's head, threw it on the ground, and kicked it. Perry stood there. He watched. He went back to pitching. Martin himself went further. After one particularly infuriating Perry performance, he called both the league president and the commissioner of baseball and declared them, publicly and on record, without courage for refusing to stop Perry. He was suspended for 3 days. The suspension ended. Perry kept pitching. During the 1971 playoffs, a television reporter asked Perry's 5-year-old daughter whether her father threw a grease ball. Without hesitation, she answered, "It's a hard slider." After the 1971 season, the San Francisco Giants made a trade. They sent Gaylord Perry and infielder Frank Duffy to the Cleveland Indians in exchange for left-handed pitcher Sam McDowell. Most observers said the Giants had won the deal. McDowell was younger, harder throwing, and still considered a premier talent. What happened next became one of the most lopsided trades in baseball history. Perry arrived in Cleveland and immediately faced a new kind of challenge. The Indians were a 5th-place club. They scored an average of 3 runs per game. Perry would have to win games almost entirely on his own. In 1972, Gaylord Perry posted an ERA of 1.92. He threw 342 innings. He completed 29 of his starts. He won 24 games for a team that barely scored. 8 times that season, he pitched into extra innings because his offense could not deliver a winning run in regulation. Historian Bill James later called it the greatest season by an American League pitcher since Lefty Grove in 1931. He won the Cy Young Award. One voter publicly announced he would not cast a ballot for Perry because of the illegal pitch. Perry won anyway. 2 years later, in 1974, Perry produced the single most dominant stretch of his career. After losing his opening start, he won his next 15 consecutive decisions, 15 straight. All 15 were complete games. By the 3rd of July, his record stood at 15 wins and 1 loss, with an ERA of 1.31. He was trying, in one of those games, to tie the American League record for consecutive victories, but gave up a run in the 9th inning and lost in extra innings. He finished the season 21 wins and 13 losses for a 4th-place club. Nobody remembers it. The numbers remember it. 6 years later, in the winter of 1978, the San Diego Padres acquired a 39-year-old pitcher that most of the league considered finished. Perry arrived in San Diego and proceeded to go 21 wins and 6 losses with an ERA of 2.73. The Padres finished with their best record in their first 10 years of existence. Perry won his 2nd Cy Young Award. He became the first pitcher in the history of baseball to win the award in both the American League and the National League. Nobody has done it since. He said afterward, "Before I won my 2nd Cy Young, I thought I was too old. I didn't think the writers would vote for me, but they voted on my performance, so I won it." There is also a smaller story inside these years that deserves its moment. Early in Perry's career, his manager Alvin Dark had once remarked, half as a joke, half as a genuine assessment, that a man would walk on the moon before Gaylord Perry hit a home run. On the 20th of July, 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the lunar surface. The next afternoon, in the 3rd inning of a game at Dodger Stadium, Gaylord Perry hit the first home run of his career off Claude Osteen. Dark had been right. In the most literal, most cosmic sense imaginable, he had been exactly right. If you were a baseball writer in 1978, would you have voted Cy Young for a pitcher nearly 40 years old? Let us know in the comments and subscribe if you want more stories like this one. On the 21st of September, 1983, Gaylord Perry threw the last pitch of his professional career. He was 45 years old. He had played for 8 different teams across 22 seasons, 314 wins, 3,534 strikeouts, 5 All-Star selections. He walked away from the game as one of the most accomplished pitchers who had ever lived. Then he went back to North Carolina and tried to farm. He planted corn, soybeans, tobacco, and peanuts on 500 acres of land, the same kind of work his father and grandfather had done before him. In 1986, 3 years after the cheering stopped, Perry and his wife filed for bankruptcy. Their debts exceeded $1 million. The same agricultural crisis that was devastating farming families across rural America had reached him too. He sold the land. He took a job as a regional representative for a food company that made chips and taco shells. Gaylord Perry, Hall of Fame pitcher, 2-time Cy Young winner, was driving across the Carolinas selling snack food to grocery stores. But that was not the hardest thing he faced in those years. In September of 1987, his wife Blanche passed away in a 2-vehicle accident. She was 46 years old. Blanche Manning had been part of his life since high school. She was the star of the girls' basketball team, the girl he courted on shared bus rides to away games, the woman he married on the 26th of December, 1959. They had built a life together through minor leagues and major leagues, through 8 cities and 4 children, and 22 seasons on the road. She was gone at 46. Perry had survived 2 decades of opposing managers, hostile crowds, and umpires who pulled his hat off his head. He had survived trades, controversies, and public ridicule. None of that had broken him. But these years, the quiet years, the years without the crowd, were the ones that tested him most. He was not finished. But what came next would cost him something he had not expected to spend. In 1987, Gaylord Perry signed a 4-year contract with Limestone College in Gaffney, South Carolina. His assignment: build a baseball program from nothing. He coached the team himself for the first 3 seasons, recruiting players, setting up facilities, shaping a program that had no history and no tradition. It was, in a certain sense, the same thing he had done with his own career 40 years earlier. He met Carol Caggiano at Limestone. She was a member of the college's board of directors. They married, and Perry settled into Gaffney permanently, the small city that would be his home for the rest of his life. In 1991, Gaylord Perry was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. It took 3 ballots. He received 77.2% of the vote. The controversy over his pitching style had not disappeared. One can only wonder how many voters wrestled with that question before marking his name. But the numbers were undeniable. The innings were undeniable. The winning, across 8 teams and 2 full decades, was undeniable. That same year, on the 6th of May, 1991, before his induction ceremony at Cooperstown, Perry had already achieved one more landmark: his 300th career victory, a complete game win over the New York Yankees. He was the first pitcher to reach that milestone since Early Wynn had done it in 1963. Nearly 30 years had passed between them. Outside Oracle Park in San Francisco, there is a statue of Gaylord Perry. He stands in his pitching motion, right arm extended, mid-delivery. It captures exactly what made him, a man in the act of something that nobody could quite explain. On the 1st of December, 2022, Perry passed away peacefully at his home in Gaffney. He was 84 years old. At baseball card conventions and alumni events across his retirement years, fans always asked him the same 3 questions. What did you put on the ball? Where did you hide it? How often did you really throw it? The smile never changed. The answer never changed either. Umpire Bill Haller, who watched Perry as closely as anyone in the game, said it plainly at the end. I watched Gaylord like a hawk. I have never found anything. I will tell you what Perry is. He is one outstanding pitcher and a fantastic competitor. And so the question remains open. It was always meant to remain open. That was the whole point. 314 wins, a Hall of Fame plaque, and 21 years of the most sustained, most watched, most investigated alleged rule-bending in baseball history, with precisely one ejection to show for it in season 21, after which Perry threatened legal action and then quietly dropped the matter. So what really happened to Gaylord Perry? A boy from a tenant farm in North Carolina watched his father give up a dream to keep his family alive. He carried that into every spring training, every bullpen session, every inning he was handed a baseball. He could not afford to be ordinary. He had seen what ordinary looked like, and it looked like debt and red soil and half a harvest belonging to someone else. He found an edge. He weaponized uncertainty. He made opposing hitters beat themselves before they ever stepped into the batter's box. And when the rules changed, he adapted. When the team stopped wanting him, another team discovered he still had more to give. When the farm failed and the crowds disappeared and loss found him in ways no umpire ever could, he rebuilt quietly in a small college town in South Carolina. The real story of Gaylord Perry is not about what he put on a baseball. It is about what he refused to put down.